Hello there, good morning. Welcome back to Morning at NTV. My name is Malaki Vilodera. Now on the solutions segment, we'll be looking at solutions to the problems that Andrew Chamagero raised on ground. Youth unemployment, especially for young girls who now have resorted to prostitution. Quite a sad state of affairs right there. But in studios, I'm joined by Niles Cole, who is the Cultural Affairs Officer, U.S. Embassy. Welcome to studios.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you. I'm also joined by Sandra Ejang, who is a YALI alumnus. And of course, now we'll be talking about the YALI program. I'm sure you have seen it somehow, maybe social media, online, whatever platform. I'm sure you've heard of YALI program, which is the Young African Leadership Initiative. And that's what we'll be talking about. It is one of the solutions that you can jump onto to just gain knowledge and experiences on how to better your life. It is for you, the young person. Mr. Niles, let's get into what inspired YALI.
So the Young African Leadership Initiative started in 2014 under President Obama because one of his advisors had traveled to Africa and realized they met with leaders all across the continent, but not a single one was under the age of 45. And Africa is one of the fastest growing continents in terms of population, and it's one of the youngest, certainly. Uganda is one of the youngest countries on the continent. Half your population's under the age of 14. And so the Young African Leadership Initiative is exactly what it sounds like. It's designed to help young African leaders develop the skills and knowledge they need to take their place as their future leaders of their country. And so people like Sandra apply, and they can go through the process. And there are 3 tracks: business and entrepreneurship, which she took part in; civic engagement, which is for those who have community-based organizations or work for nonprofit organizations; and public management, for public servants, those who are in the public sector and are looking to ensure that they are doing their jobs with integrity and responding to the needs of the population.
So what age brackets are we looking at?
So you're eligible to apply from 21 to 35, but really the target age is 25 to 35. I find it, if you're 21 and you really don't have any real world experience, kind of hard to qualify when you're competing against very qualified candidates across the 3 sectors. But 25 to 35 is the target age range, and we're looking for people across a wide variety of sectors. It doesn't have to be a traditional business. We're looking at entrepreneurship, which is different than just running a business.
Right. Sandra, let's get into your story. Quite inspiring. I was just wowed by your experiences and how YALI has brought you to the place you are at now. You started off as a beekeeper. Let's start from there. A woman, young woman, getting into beekeeping. What inspired that?
Well, I don't know about the young part, but I've always wanted to do something on the side. I'm a telecom engineer by profession, but I have not really practiced the telecommunication engineering. I worked for a security company, and after the security company, I worked for a road construction business. The road construction business kind of went off after some issues. So, but while it was running, my husband and I decided to buy some hives, which we basically abandoned, right? We were working with about 15 families. It was not very serious. So when I saw the opportunity to apply for YALI, I must add that was the second time I was applying. The first time I was recycling glass, and that idea did not work. I already had the hives though. So when I applied the second time and I got invited for the interview, it was very interesting. When I went through, everything went very well, I must add. So I've gone from 15 hives to 100 hives in less than 1 year. I was working with 15 families before I joined YALI, and now I'm working with over 500 farmers.
Amazing. So break it down for us, your structure. You're saying that you work with 15 families. One would ask, how is that?
Well, we are working to promote beekeeping as a family undertaking. What we realized was NGOs, we love NGOs. They go out to these communities and they give people hives, but they don't follow up. So you find that farmers have hives, but they don't have market for their product. So we go to these same farmers and we offer them microfinance in form of hives and market as well for their ready product. So they pay back for the hives in form of honey.
Amazing.
A certain percentage of their honey at every harvest is given to us, and then the other percentage we pay for until the hives are fully paid for. Yes.
So that means that you also get into value addition as well?
We do the whole value chain. So we start from supply of the hives to the training to packaging the finished product. We have a brand called Asali wa Moyo honey. Asali wa Moyo is loosely translated, it's a Swahili word loosely translated as honey for the heart. Yes.
Amazing. Okay, so now getting into value addition, you're saying that you actually are involved in the entire process of the value chain.
Yes.
In terms of your business growing after YALI, how many people do you employ now?
I have 6 workers, all under 30. Well, I'm not under 30, but my staff are. So 4 of my staff are women. They're all mothers, and the 2 are men. And those are the ones I directly work with. Those are the ones we pay. Then we have other young people in the communities that we work with.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Today we're talking about the young girls and just them getting out of that bracket of not being unemployed, and life pushes them to doing things like prostitution. Of course, we had Andrew Chamagero, who is on ground, and yesterday he was able to shoot some clips of this very young girls engaging in this particular trade. Mr. Niles Cole, let me ask you this. Well, you said that YALI embraces people from the age group of 21 to 35, but practically it's 25 to 35. How are you reaching out to such girls who are not in Kampala, who are outside Kampala, and are in dire need of change, in dire need of such programs that will change their lives?
It is a challenge, I admit. That's partly why I do media appearances like this, why I try to talk to radio stations. We do podcasts, which we distribute freely to radio stations around the country. Social media, of course, but word of mouth is most important. So I rely on the fellows who've been previously on YALI program to work in their communities to help identify individuals who may be good candidates and to encourage them to apply. One barrier is the fact that the application has to be done online. There's no paper application. You can't print out a copy and handwrite it and submit. It has to be done online. And the deadline is October 10th, and that's rapidly approaching. So if you're out there watching this program and you think you may be a good candidate for YALI, I would encourage you to start your application now. And you must finish before the deadline on October 10th. There is no extension available. Just be honest in your application. Tell us what you do, who you are, and why it matters. You know, like in Sandra's case, she went from being a small-scale beekeeper to now having a honey business. There's a big difference between the two, between doing just maintaining a hive and then developing a brand. And that's what YALI is all about.
When people are applying for this particular different categories, you said there's entrepreneurship, there's also civic engagement, there's also public management. What are the qualifications that you're looking out for? Do I have to be a graduate or a diploma holder for me to pass through?
Education is not a criteria because we recognize academics are not a reflection of leadership ability. So it is about, do you have a demonstrated ability to lead? Do you have a demonstrated record of achievement? That's what we're looking at. And you know, it's a challenge. There are a lot of people who apply, and there are a lot of really qualified candidates, and we are trying to choose a really diverse cross-section of Uganda. We don't want to take just from Kampala. We want to take from applicants all around the country, people who are living and working in rural areas, changing their community. And often some of those leaders are not recognized. You know, they're not getting certificates or awards. They're just doing it because they see an issue that needs to be addressed and nobody else is doing it. That kind of person who sees that issue, who tries to address that issue, is the kind of candidate that we want to apply for YALI.
How long is the program?
So there's a 6-week program, a training program that you apply. There's also an additional 6-week professional development experience that's available to you if you apply for that. But generally, most applicants get the 6 weeks training program. So they go to Washington, D.C., and Sandra can talk about this more than I can, having gone through it. They go to Washington, D.C., they go through some training there, and then they go to various U.S. universities that specialize in their area of expertise. So if you're going for business and entrepreneurship, you might go to a university that specializes in that. If you're doing civic engagement, you might go to a university that specializes in that. Same with public management. And you spend most of your time at that U.S. university before returning to Uganda.
Okay, fully paid for?
Fully paid for. Everything is paid for.
Right.
No expenses are incurred by the applicant. The application is completely free. You should not pay any fees to apply for the program, although you may incur fees if you're at an internet cafe, for example.
All right. Sandra, let's get into your experience, and over and above you growing as a business person, how else has YALI impacted you and your life as Sandra?
Before I went into YALI, I had a lot of small businesses here and there I was doing. I must say I was not defined as a business person. YALI has made me focus on what's important. Now I know all about building a brand, which is what I have done. And I would encourage everybody out there, it doesn't matter if you have 1 or 2 people you're working with, your idea is important for as long as it's changing somebody's life. It doesn't have to be 100 people. You start with 1 and gradually you will increase on the number of people you're influencing.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you also in touch with some of the ladies who are in these communities, the families that you're working with?
Yes, absolutely. I'm in touch with all of them, and moving forward, next year, we look into training people. Well, we look into training, especially the women in the communities, how to add value addition to the beekeeping. That's things like making candles. That's something easy that anybody can do. So we look into doing that as well, on top of the actual beekeeping.
All right. Yes. Mr. Niles, what people say here in the country, especially the young people, is they don't lack skills of running businesses or getting into businesses, but what they lack is the financing and the market to actually trade in whatever sphere they're in. So in terms of the program of YALI, do you just impart these young people with the skills, for example, the entrepreneurship program, and then you let them be? Do you link them as well to, you know, access maybe cheap and affordable financing for their businesses? Do you get into that?
We don't provide financing for businesses. The argument that you say people lack financing, that's true to some extent, but a true business person, a true entrepreneur is not going to let lack of finance stop them from doing the business. And that's what this program is about. People see barriers and they say, I can't succeed because there's a barrier. A true entrepreneur is going to see a barrier and say, I'm going to overcome this. That's the difference. And what YALI really does, what the Mandela Washington Fellowship does, what the Regional Leadership Center does, trains people to identify those barriers and figure out solutions rather than letting those barriers hold them back. Right? Like in Sandra's case, you had a small operation before, you came back and your operation has grown exponentially over the last year that you've been back, because the program teaches you to think differently about business, about civic engagement, about public management. It's not about oh my gosh, the business environment is so hard here. No, it's about identifying the opportunities within the environment and succeeding.
Okay. Sandra, let us in, and today you're going to play the teacher, of course, for our viewers, them especially who are entrepreneurs and are struggling from that point of they want to maybe start, or they're in business and they want to grow, but they see finances being an impediment to their growth. Share your experience and how you were able to scale your business to the next level, the level that you are at now.
Well, when I was in the US, I was able to visit a couple of beekeeping businesses, honey businesses as well. Beekeeping and honey are different, really. So
they're different?
Yeah,
okay.
Beekeeping
Teach us today.
Beekeeping is the physical part of making the honey, and then the honey business is where you have the honey. There are people that just package, they don't do the actual beekeeping, and then there are people who do the beekeeping, but we're doing both. So when I visited these businesses, I saw all the different things they were doing that we don't do here. So when I came back, I already had the product, and that is the honey. So I started packaging differently. Of course, like everybody else who's starting, the financing was a bit of an issue. But I managed. I started really, really small. I mean, I started by supplying a restaurant, one restaurant, and little by little, I started getting more money, and all the money was going back into the business. I got better jars. I got somebody to make me a better logo, and then I used social media for marketing. And I must say I have over 10 products now, each different, with a different price, and that is how we've been able to expand.
What are these 10 products?
We have natural honey, we have infused honeys, we have candles, scented and unscented. We all these are bee products. We have wax, we have honey sticks. Honey sticks are very cheap, 2 for 500. You should just go and buy. I mean, everybody is able to afford the honey sticks. We have honey with bee venom, which is very medicinal. We have propolis. Propolis is bee glue, and it's also very medicinal. It's antifungal, antiviral. It will heal everything. The only thing it won't do is grant you salvation. To yeah, so all these products, you find that when somebody comes to our stall or to the shop, you'll walk out with something at least, and that is where our income comes from.
Do you manufacture all these 10 products here in the country?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes.
What does it take to produce maybe bee candles?
Bee candles, you need beeswax and a wick.
So is your production process pretty much based on human labor, or you have to have machines to do some of these things?
Machines would make life significantly easier, but you can also do them manually, which is what we're doing, because we can't afford the machines. But in a very short while, we're going to be having the machines as well.
Great, great. Let's get, before I get to Mr. Cole, let's get into the issue of pricing. I'm a business person as well, and I interact with a lot of entrepreneurs, and what they struggle with once they start or when they want to scale up their businesses is branding vis-a-vis pricing. So what was it for you when you're adding value to your honey and tagging that with a price? How did you make sure that you get it right, such that you still maintain your clients, they don't feel like you're overly pricing your products, but you still make your profit out of it?
There are lots of honey businesses in Uganda, but we also have imported products, a lot of imported products. So what we did first was market research. Went to the supermarkets and looked at all the prices that are available. Then we went back and looked into what we are spending to make a product. That is for the pure honey. Now for the infused products, we are the only business that has infused products.
When you say infused products, break it down for the viewer.
It's basically honey that is spiced, I must say. Honey with, we have honey with cinnamon, we have honey with cloves. It's not, before I made this product, I was made to believe that to make, say, infused cinnamon, you need cinnamon oil that you add to the honey, but that kills the natural part of the honey. So we infuse the actual herb with the honey to make the cinnamon honey. In a business, you want to develop a product that sets you apart, and that is what we have done. Once you have developed a product that sets you apart, and you have been able to identify how much it costs to make the product, what your price is to sell, you want to set a price that your customers are happy with. So the product has to be good, and it has to be friendly, pocket friendly for the people that are buying.
So you need to balance your cost of production, balance it out and compare it to the market prices of the ready goods that are there, and also make sure that it doesn't pinch hard on the pockets of your clients, and just see that you make sure that you maintain your standards of your products. and make sure that they're of high quality, of course.
Exactly.
Okay, Mr. Niles Cole, let's try and break it down in terms of the program, especially the entrepreneurship program. Are the students beefed up with info on how they can access markets?
Well, I mean, the whole point of the program is to take someone who is a business person or an entrepreneur and give them the ability to identify where they have the capability of expanding their market.
Right.
You know, and Sandra's a good case. You know, going from just a business to now a company that is developing products that are unique in the market and developing a brand that sets them apart. That's what the program is about. It's about helping individuals identify how they can do what they do better.
Okay.
There's a difference between running a business and being an entrepreneur, right? An entrepreneur is not going to allow failure to stop them from success. A business person is just buying and selling.
Okay.
There's two different things.
So this is access to both local markets and external markets as well?
Yes.
Okay. For you, Sandra, are you just selling your honey and products here in the country, or you're also exporting?
For now, we're only selling our products locally, but we're looking into expanding and exporting the product. There's a lot of potential when it comes to beekeeping and honey products in Uganda, and right now, the international market is available, but I don't have the potential to export yet.
Why are you saying that? Is it because you're not producing as much?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And of course that will come with the machines, like you're saying, efficiency and growing the volumes.
Yes.
Okay, your last remarks, Mr. Cole, before we come to a close.
I just encourage anyone who wants to apply for this program to start their application now. If you haven't already done it, the application period closes October 10th. There is no extension available, so you must complete your application before the deadline closes. Take your time. Do the application to the best of your ability. Don't plagiarize. Plagiarism will get your application disqualified. You only do one application. Multiple applications will have your application disqualified. Get someone else to read your application for you if you're not confident about your ability to write. It's really important that you do your application well. Again, what's your demonstrated leadership and achievement? That's what we're looking at. You don't have to be the leader of a multinational corporation to show leadership and to show that you've accomplished something in your given career track, whether that's business, whether that's civic engagement, or whether that's public management.
Okay.
So that's what I would say to our potential applicants. We really want people from outside of Kampala to apply, and particularly women. We really would like them to apply as well, because this program is equal opportunity, and we want the representatives from Uganda to really represent Uganda. Kampala does not represent Uganda. Kampala is just one city within Uganda.
Right, right. And in terms of the portal, how can they apply? It's online application, so where do they go?
So there's only one way you can apply, and that is online at YALI. That's YALI.state.gov. That's STATE.gov. YALI.state.gov. And the application is available there. That's where you will apply.
Okay. Sandra, speak to the girls.
I would like to encourage all the girls, especially the girls in the rural areas. We know that you're struggling, but you should endeavor to apply. It will take you places. You're going to meet so many people that are going to change your lives forever. I'm a good example. Yeah. Not that I was in the village, but...
Thank you so much for coming in studios. Man, that's a good fruit of solution right there. So be sure to share this video. Of course, we'll share it on YouTube. Go to Morning at NTV. That's on NTV Uganda on YouTube pages. In case you know someone who will have their lives changed thanks to this program, share, 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 share. And if you feel like you need this, apply. So you have all the tools and information on how you can go about the application. So that has been it for Solutions segment. Morning at NTV still continues. Up next is Take Note. Keep it here.